right, let's begin. Hi everyone, welcome to this quick start training session on how to set up Windows Server 2019 with Windows PowerShell. This is your host Sham. We are with Bekim Dauti. Bekim has over 15 years of experience in guiding. He is a Cisco certified instructor as well as a Microsoft certified instructor. He has practically written books on these subjects. So I would like to hand this session over to Bekim now. Bekim,
Thank,
let's begin.
okay, thank you very much, Atisham. Hi, everyone, and welcome to how to set up Windows Server 2019 with Windows PowerShell. If you have been actually attending webinars, especially the one that I've presented, then you actually already know about me. In case not, here is a short introduction of who I am. As Atisham said, my name is Bekim Dauti. I have a bachelor's in informatics with the University of Tirana, country Albania, and I have master's in information technology with the University of Maryland, University College, United States. Other than that, I have actually several certifications from the different IT industry. CompTIA, I have A+, Server Plus, Network Plus, and Security Plus. I'm a Cisco Certified Academy instructor since 2002. Other than that, I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, and I just actually yesterday just renewed the MCT with Microsoft, and this is my 12th year. Okay, my current work, I work as a system administrator for Kosovo Telecom, where I actually maintain the SharePoint server. Along with a team of other colleagues which are actually acting as system administrators as well. Other than that, if I can claim that, actually say like that, in my free time, I've just recently founded my startup business, which is Dauti, and mainly it's actually a small company that is providing IT online trainings. Roughly, I have nearly 20 years of work experience in IT organizations, different companies, different organizations, and different positions held. Actually, you can reach me at bekim@dauti.com if you think that you have a question that you think that I have an answer for that particular question. Other than that, you can reach me by the cell phone number. Obviously, I use the Viber, I use the WhatsApp, and all those new apps that are actually enabling the communication by the new technology, or new cell technology. Okay, so this was like a short or brief introduction of mine. To not lose time, because the time is limited, as you have been informed. If you're taking for the first time, obviously these webinars are 60 minutes webinars. If this is like if this is not your first time, then obviously you're very much aware in terms of timing. And because we have plenty of work to do, it's good to start right away. Okay, the course agenda is in front of us, and we will try actually to cover the following. Right at the beginning, we will show actually a website where we can go and officially download the Windows Server 2019. Okay, once we download, we will go then in the process of installing the Windows Server 2019 by in advance or prior to that creating a virtual machine. Once we create virtual machine, then obviously, I guess we all do have that experience. We will then move straight forward and install in Windows Server 2019, but server core. Okay. In parallel with the Windows Server 2019 server core installation, we're actually going to start another installation, which would be like the Windows 10, because obviously when you will see the network topology, we actually need a Windows 10 which is actually playing the role of a client. Therefore, we need to access services. And remember, we're over here talking a client server product of the Microsoft. Therefore, with such products such as Windows Server 2019, we're actually in a position to configure and enable network services. Therefore, that's why we need a client. Then we once we complete the installation of Windows Server 2019 server core along with the Windows 10, then we will move forward and then install the Active Directory domain services in order to set up a domain controller. In parallel with the ADDS, actually we're going to install the DNS as well, because definitely we need in a client-server network topology a domain name system. Once we complete, or once we actually done the job with the ADDS and DNS, we then move forward and then install the DHCP, the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, because we are in a client-server network architecture, and would be very much interested to see how we actually install the DHCP and how we actually create a DHCP scope, and then verify whether the client, such as the test client, okay, has actually received an IP address automatically from the DHCP that we've just configured, or just about to configure actually. Okay, once we do that, then we are in a good position to actually then join the Windows 10 client, the test client computer, join into a domain. Okay, we'll see how we actually accomplish that task as well. Move forward, we are very much interested to proceed with the other task of seeing how we can enable or add or actually install or configure other or better saying additional network services, particularly the one that we see here, which is like installing and setting up a web server. When we say installing, we're going to actually install the web server, or the famous Microsoft Web Server Internet Information Services, or shortly known as the IIS. Once we do that, we're very much interested to see how we then set up a website. Okay, and with it, I've priorly created actually a short web page, which I'm going then to copy and then to see once we actually enable that particular website, and then once we enable that particular web server and then add that particular website onto it, see whether we can access it from the Windows 10 test client. Okay, and then we are very much interested to see whether we can access not by the IP address, so from the client to the server, not accessing the website on the web server with the content on the web server actually with the IP address. Rather, we would like to be interested to see whether we can access it via the name, via the domain name. Okay, so that's why we actually come up with a name such as the intranet. Okay, so we will call our website the intranet, and see whether it's going to work when we try to access the site with the name instead of the IP address. Okay, so that was actually the course agenda. Feel free to address the questions. Okay, Etisham already explained. Again, if you've been following, attending these webinars, you do have experience how to use the chat box. For all of you that are new or are actually taking for the first time, on the ribbon of the Zoom app that you're using to actually participate in this webinar, you can then click at the chat box, and then there actually address your questions. Obviously, we're a human being. Whatever we know, trust me that I'm very much interested to share it with you. Whatever I don't know because I'm actually a human being. But definitely, I'm going to learn that one. And once I learn it, then I'll be able to share it with you. That's why I've shared my contact information, such as the email and the cell phone as well. Okay, moving forward, let us introduce the network topology. It might look actually simple, because looking at this particular network topology, we have like the three network components. From the left side, we start with the Windows server, or with the server actually as a physical machine. Then we have the switch, which is actually interconnecting or doing this sort of a connection between the server and the client, which is on the right side. As I said, the network topology might look simple, but the work that we actually have been assigned to do is plenty of it, and therefore is quite complex. You're actually going to witness it yourself once we get started. But obviously, most probably you're coming from the IT world, and particularly from the sysadmin occupation, if I can say. Therefore, you are very much aware of how actually complex are the client-server network architecture. Okay, so we're as we went through the course agenda, here it is once again that in the server we're actually going to install and configure the domain controller, the DNS server, the DHCP server, the web server. The server is going to use the IP address 172.16.0.10, whereas the client client actually is going to receive an IP address automatically from the DHCP once we actually install and set up that particular network service. Okay, moving forward. Maybe just a short history about the Windows PowerShell. Actually, I'm not going to trouble you with this information, because obviously this information is available in the literature of the information technology, which pertains to the Windows PowerShell, and also plenty of it you can actually find it on the internet. Okay, but everything started with the PowerShell version 1, which was actually released sometime in November 2006. Primarily for the Windows XP Series Pack 2 at that time, and then Windows Server 2003 Series Pack 1. And remember the famous operating system of the Microsoft that everyone actually worldwide was in love very much with it, Windows Vista. Want it or not, admit it or not, just shortly about the Windows Vista. Well, actually, the platform of the Windows 10 is actually based on Windows Vista. Whether looking from the perspective of technical development, whether you're looking from the perspective of how we're actually approached to the Windows setup program right to the beginning, when we actually go and then install the operating system. Today is actually Windows 10, or from the defense in depth, or the layer security. Actually, the foundation were laid out in Windows Vista. Okay, then actually PowerShell moved with another version, the version 2, then which was actually introduced or released for the Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 Part 2. And like that, actually the history of the PowerShell actually moved then from version to the version, always introducing some new features, overcoming some limitations of the earlier versions. And like that, actually we are actually in the version 7, which is designated to become the replacement product for the PowerShell core of the version 6.x products, as well as the Windows PowerShell 5.1 as well. Okay, moving forward, and without not losing time, in order to actually try to accomplish all of the work within the specified time, so let's get started then. Okay, right away, I'm going to now actually provide you, the portal from where we can actually download the Windows Server 2019. Okay, here this is actually the Evaluation Center portal, or the website, which is a famous website from the Microsoft. You can actually see it over here in the URL. Okay, feel free to access this particular portal, and then actually there download your favorite Microsoft product. Okay, in our case we will be going with the Windows Server 2019. So let's see which results we're going to receive it once we search for it. Okay, here it is. The first in the list is actually the Windows Server 2019. Okay, over here, then you're actually simple as that, as actually you've seen in the demonstration. I've just clicked at the result, which the first one was Windows Server 2019. Then obviously I would receive some information over here, and then I need to select the evaluation file type, the Azure, the ISO, the VHD. Okay, once I actually click over here, then continue, fill up this form, and then once we fill up this form, hit continue, then obviously we are very much towards the end of the process, when we actually going to receive the information regarding the file that we're actually about to download. Save it somewhere on your computer, and then once that particular download completes, like that, you're actually able then to run the process of installing Windows Server 2019. Other than that, let us try with Windows 10 over here. Okay, let us see what we're going to have in terms of the results. Okay, you see, it is Windows 10. Remember that the products over here are full featured, but are actually in the trial mode, meaning that, for instance, like the Windows Server 2019 is available for 180 days, which in my opinion is plenty of time available in order so you can actually play with it to its maximum. In contrast, the Windows 10 is less days, but 90 days is enough. Remember, you're actually receiving the enterprise. Okay, so again, the same thing. Click at the Windows 10 result, search result, and then proceed with the type of type that you are actually about to download. The ISO Enterprise, the ISO LTSC. Okay, actually the long time servicing. Okay, which one you're actually selecting, hit continue, and then again fill out the form, continue, and then you're actually about to download the Windows 10 file. Once that download completes, then you're actually good to then move to the very next step. Okay, and the very next step of ours is actually the one which is pertaining to the installation. Assuming that we have actually downloaded the Windows Server 2019, which I did prior to starting this particular webinar, in order to not lose time, and particularly because we're actually limited in terms of timing. Okay, so then we move forward and then create the virtual machines. But just shortly, a little bit about the HyperV. If you're using a Windows 10 Pro version, okay, as of 1709 build, okay, Microsoft has enabled that even in Windows 10 Pro, because prior to that it was only permitted in Windows 10 Enterprise and Education. Now it is available in Windows 10 Pro as well. You can go to the Windows settings, or you can go actually to the search, and then over here search for the actually turn Windows features on or off. And then once, okay, let me just actually turn Windows, okay, just to show you. Okay, so here it is. Then you can go along and then enable the Hyper-V, and then once you actually check this box here, hit OK. Shortly, obviously depends from the processing power of the machine that you're using, but shortly that actually is a process. Doesn't take that much time. Then the Hyper-V is going to be enabled in your computer, but just ensure that prior to actually enabling or turning on this particular feature, make sure that in the BIOS or prior to that, just read a little bit about the tech specs of your machine in order to see whether your machine is actually supporting the virtualization. As far as the information that comes from the Intel and the AMD, are the most recent processors actually, or maybe the past 5 years, even 10 years, we can actually take the freedom to say, if not all of them, majority of the processor from both Intel and AMD are actually supporting the virtualization. But just to be on the safe side, make sure that you have actually first of all, the processor of yours is actually of your machine is actually supporting the virtualization. Then checking whether in the BIOS, because sometimes the manufacturers by default are actually disabling the virtualization on the BIOS. Make sure that in the BIOS or UEFI, depends which one you're using your machine, and then enable that one, and then you're actually good to then move with the turning Windows feature and enable the Hyper-V. Once you enable, then obviously this screen is going to show in front in your monitor, in your screen, and then move with the process of creating the virtual machine. You have experience, so I'll not go with what you need to do, because prior to creating virtual machines, you should actually create virtual switches. Okay, but we've created that one, so we move forward and then create the virtual machine. Okay, we will name it Windows Server 2019 Server Core. Okay, and then store. We've already specified the location where. We're going with the generation 1 because we're not production environment over here. We're testing environment, so going with the generation 1, not generation 2, which is recommended for the production environment and the support of 64-bit platforms and the live migration of virtual machines. Okay, over here, because we're installing server core, we don't need that much memory. Okay, so I think this would be enough. Okay, moving forward, let us actually first of all connect this one to the network that I'm using over here within the small office home office environment. Okay, next, I think 35 gigs is enough for this server core. Okay, and then install this one, locating now actually. Okay, going to Windows Server. Okay, here's the evaluation. Open this one. Next, finish. Okay, so this is done. Okay, before starting this one, I'm very much interested to go to the settings of this machine that we just created. Add another adapter, okay, network adapter, and this one then actually link internally, okay, which is going to talk to the Windows 10 client. Okay, so this is that LAN. Okay, that's good. Super. I'm going to take out the checkpoints. We don't need that. We said we're not production environment. Okay, hit OK and wait, and then start this one right away. Start and connect. Okay, let's see now what we're actually having over here. So far, so good. Okay, obviously we need to be a little bit patient when we actually run this stuff. Okay, so install the Windows Server 2019. Okay, let's see. This is actually one way for my machine to show itself whether it's powerful or not. Okay, so over here we're actually now having the versions, having the additions of the operating systems that are available in the evaluation. Okay, so we have the server core of the standard, we have the server core of the data center, then we have the desktop experience both for data center and the standard. Okay, so we'll actually go with the standard evaluation. Okay, no matter how complex is actually our network topology, the one that we've shown earlier in the slide, again, it's not that complex that we actually need a data center. Okay, so we go with the next now. Okay, proceed here. Accept the license at the end user license agreement. Okay, we will then create partition over here. Okay, which is going to be like 20 gigs. This one. Okay, apply. Okay, and the remaining one. Okay, this one. Okay, move here, hit next, and then we've actually started this one. Okay, so until this one completes, hopefully it's going to go fast. Okay, let us go ahead and then create the other one, the one that we've said actually the Windows 10 client. Windows 10 client. Okay, over here, next, generation 1. In terms of the RAM memory, we're going to allocate the same as we did actually for the server. Okay, although this is like GUI, graphical user interface, might require more resources, but we're not going to have plenty of the work over here to do. So therefore, we think that that is enough. Okay, remember here, we're not permitting this one to access the small office, home office network, but this one is going to actually be on that virtual LAN with the server. Okay, so next here. Okay, and then 3 gigs would be enough for him. Okay, next, and then let us locate the image over here for Windows 10. Let me see, I might not have. Okay, so I have the most recent one. Okay, and then finish. Okay, that's good. Now going to the Windows 10 settings over here. Okay, and then checkpoint, taking out the checkpoint there. Okay, and then hitting OK there, and see where we are with the Windows Server. Okay, 65%, that's good. Now let's move along over here, start this one. So we started the Windows 10 installation, connect here. Okay, bring up into the view. Okay, and then let's see when the Windows setup program is actually showing up. Which is good for me taking some water. Okay, here we are. Next, install. Maybe you've actually noticed that when installing Windows 10 and installing the Windows Server 2019, actually the Windows 10 is taking more time. Okay, okay, next. Next, again, once we actually accept the end user license agreement, we're going to use the entire disk over here for the installation of the OS. Okay. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, then next. That's good. Let's just go back now. This obviously we need this one much later than we need actually the Windows Server. Let's see with Windows Server how far we are. Oh, almost done. Almost done. Hope you're actually enjoying. So far, so good, right? All of this is like the unicast. Remember, from the networking, we're actually doing communication unicast. It's actually the me who is it's actually the QuickStart. Okay. That is providing this platform, and then the QuickStart is actually broadcasting this presentation or this webinar to you. But I can assume that you're actually enjoying to the maximum so far the presentation. Okay, one more step, okay, and then we're actually done with the installation, because once this particular machine restarts, then it's actually just doing some setup on the background in terms of the services and in terms of the device, recognizing the devices, and then the screen for setting up the password is going to show up. But remember, we're installing over here. We're installing over here the server core. Okay, let me just ensure that I take out this image from there. Okay. Until this one finishes, just for information, once we complete the installation of Windows Server 2019, we actually need to go along and then run the initial configuration of the Windows Server 2019. Okay, remember, all of you, that you do have experience with the Windows servers in general and Windows Server 2019 in particular. When we actually go and then install the Windows Server 2019 desktop experience, we're actually using the server manager to run the initial configuration. In the case of a server core, as you might have experience, and then with all due respect, in that sense, we're actually using the server configuration command, okay, asconfig.cmd, in order to actually run the initial configuration. During that process, we're going to enable the remote desktop, and then we'll actually try to access the Windows Server via the remote desktop connection. Let's see how successful we're going to be in that direction. Okay, so as I was saying, is actually doing working in the background with the services, and actually in terms of the configuring the hardware. Okay, so far we're actually getting ready. Just a matter of seconds until the screen for setting up the password is actually going to show up. Okay, so far is so good. Maybe we have actually some seconds available in order to view. You see, Windows 10 is actually slower in terms of the installation compared to the Windows Server 2019. At least that is something that I've actually gained from the experience. Okay, and notice that as well. Okay, you might agree as well in this sense. Okay, let's see. Come on, Windows Server 2019. Don't make a joke with us. Okay, it's restarting. We're good. Okay, let's see. Okay, slowly but safely. Okay, that's good. 37%. Remember, we have some post-installation tests to run it in Windows 10. Might take a little bit of time, but no problem. Okay, let's see. Come on, surprisingly, you know that this is quite interesting. Sometimes, this actually sometimes happens in life that when you need something, mostly it just takes time, and then looks like the Windows Server 2019 has actually found the time to play a little bit with our feelings. But okay, we'll be patient enough. Add to it that because in parallel we're actually installing two operating systems, it's something that is no matter how powerful the machine might be, it's actually impacting as actually load onto it. Well, just to see the task manager for it. Okay, yes, okay. It is like 50%, 60%. Okay, the CPU. Okay. I might have gone actually doing the installation prior to running the webinar, but from experience happened that often we are actually having new candidates that are or people or participants that are taking for the first time the webinar, and also we want to actually be able to contribute with the knowledge sharing, particularly in a sense when actually such people want to learn the HyperV or the virtualization platform of the Microsoft. That was very good information when we actually provided the information in terms of how we can enable the HyperV on the Windows 10 Pro version. Okay, but actually we almost done with the installation of the Windows Server 2019. It's just a matter of when we actually receive. Okay, here it is. We're good over here. Okay, let's actually connect this one. Okay. Okay, so let's set up the password. Okay. Let's see. Once we access the command line interface, remember, if you're new to the server core, we're not going to see the graphical user interface. All we're going to see is actually the command line interface, the famous one in all of the Microsoft Windows operating systems. Okay, here it is. I'm going to increase this one for better viewing. Okay, it's coming. Here it is. So right away, we go with the sconfig. So server configuration. Enter. Okay. Okay, so now here is actually the matter of the numbers that we're actually selecting. Okay, and each number represents an option. we're actually selecting a particular number and then going into the process of setting up that particular option. Okay, well, we'll go with the first in the list. Okay, number 1, which we're actually going to set up. Pardon, that is actually when we set up the domain, but we will go actually with the number 2 first, which is setting up the computer name. Okay, because obviously we cannot accept that default naming as the host name. Okay, so this is test DC. So our server is going to be called the test domain controller. Enter, changing computer name. We're going to start this one later. Here it is. Although we are in the server core, okay, don't be surprised. We're actually having some graphical user interface interaction. Okay, so we did the computer name. Once we restart, this part over here is going to actually be test DC and not this generic name. Okay, moving them forward, we're going like the next on the list. Okay, we're not going to run the Windows updates thing or download and install updates. Okay, we'll go with the remote desktop. Okay, number 7. Here we are. E for enable. Okay, and then we will go number 1, just for information, allow only clients running remote desktop with network level authentication, which is more secure. Number 2, allow clients running any version of remote desktop less secure. We go with number 2. Okay, remember, we are testing environment. Okay, it's not that we're actually leaving behind or actually compromising the security, but we actually are in the testing environment. Therefore, we're very much interested to test the functionalities, particularly the network services, rather than security. But obviously, when it comes to testing the network services from the standpoint of security, then obviously we set up a more secure test environment. Okay, so we go with actually then the next in the list. For me, because I'm located right now in Kosovo, Balkan, okay, which is Europe and Central European time. So I will take the comfort to actually go with the date and time here. That is actually very much to the time zone where I'm located. Okay, remember, in the networking environment, it matters a lot, and that is why we're actually doing this one. Okay, I think I missed that. Okay, this is that for me. Okay, so that is actually good. Okay, and then let's go with the network settings. Okay, and the network settings is actually number 8. Remember, we have actually the 2 of them, so we'll go with the number 1 first. Okay, the network adapter number 1. Okay, let's set up the IP address over here. Number 1. Okay, it's 192.168. And then 0.3, the one that actually has been received from the DHCP of the router in this small office, home office environment. Okay, let's see now. Okay, okay, let me see. Something went wrong. Once again, number 1. Okay, pardon. I need to go with the static here. Pardon. That's why rushing is not good. Okay, so I rushed over a little bit over here. So we're actually setting up a static IP address. Servers, I don't know, but at least I don't know whether you might encounter a situation when you're actually seeing a server with a dynamic IP address. But in general, recommendations are that the server should actually have static IP addresses. Okay, so over here now we are actually entering that IP address that we've entered earlier. Okay, and then the subnet mask. Okay, remember this is class C. Okay, so default subnet mask, default gateway. Okay, let's move forward over here. Okay, and then we might need it, might not, but just for the sake of the presentation, let us go with setting up the DNSs over here. Okay, so the preferred DNS is actually the DNS of the router over here. Okay, and then so this is actually the primary one, and the alternate we will be going with the Google DNSs. Okay, then over here. Okay, that's good. Go number 4, going back over here. Go number 8 again. Remember the second adapter. Number 2. Okay, and then number 1 static, as for static. Okay, and then 172.16.0.10. Okay, 255.255.0.0. Okay, and then 172.16.0.1. Okay. Yes, we will go with the process of setting up the DNS over here as well. Okay, so what we have over here is actually enter the new preferred DNS server. Yes, definitely will do 172.16, pardon, 16.0.10. So the IP address of the server is going to be our actual DNS, in fact. Okay, and then moving forward, the length for the alternate. Okay, here it is, number 4, going back over here, and then we need to restart this server. Remember that because we've actually changed the name. Okay, so number 13 is the option that is going to restart our server. Yes. Okay, and then once this server restarts, I'm going to try and see whether I can access it via the remote desktop connection. Let's just see restarting first. Let the restarting take place. Okay, meanwhile, we see that the Windows 10 is almost ready. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's good. Let me then move along and see whether I can access now. Once the server comes up, whether I can access via the remote desktop connection. Well, looking at the time and looking at the things that we need to actually accomplish, I think we're actually good in terms of the time. Remember that over here we have actually commands. Okay, I might maybe go ahead and then just actually copy and paste the commands instead of typing in order to save time. But let's see how we'll be actually going to work. Okay, come on. Let's see when the server comes up actually. Okay. Let's try now. Okay, so we're good. We can actually access it. Okay, remember administrator. Okay, and then the password. Okay, don't show this one. Yes. Okay, here we are. So right now we're actually have remotely accessed this server that will just run the initial configuration. Okay, just for information, going at the sconfig here. Okay, pardon. Okay, we might have gone with the hostname command, but just for you so you can see actually there. Okay. Come on. I don't know why it's actually going a little bit slow. This is actually server core. It should have not, but anything can happen. Okay, test DC. So this is actually that thing. Okay, so now we're going out from the sconfig, from the server configuration with the number 15 option. Okay, and here we are, IP config/all. Okay, here we are. We have actually two interfaces. The one that is actually the one that we're going to use for the, remember, for the network topology 172.16.0.10, and the one that we're actually used in order to get connected to the remotely. Okay, clear screen over here. Right away, PowerShell. So type PowerShell, and then from the command line, you're actually going now transitioning yourself on the same environment, but just in terms of the functionality in the background, we're actually calling now the PowerShell, okay, module. Okay, PowerShell should come shortly. Surprising to me, it's taking some time, which it should not. Okay, once it comes, we will start with the installation of the Active Directory domain services. Okay, let's see. Install. Okay, so we go with the install command, and then, pardon, you see, maybe okay, maybe it's that I'm using the Albanian keyboard. Sorry. Install Windows feature. Okay, AD domain services. Enter. Okay, let's see. So we're actually installing the Windows feature, and that is the Active Directory domain services. Okay, it should. Okay, it started. Let's wait for this to complete. Did not expect it that it's going to go a little like this slow, because I've tested all these setups prior to running this webinar. But yes, okay, let's see, we might have a question. We move a little bit this one. Okay, I thought we were going to do PowerShell the whole way from installing the OS as well. Ah, yes, okay. So let's see. Joseph is asking, actually, I thought we were going to do PowerShell the whole way from installing the OS as well. But Joseph, within the 60 minutes, then we should actually maybe come up with. Okay, first of all, this is a very good question. Maybe then we should just run another session of this very much related webinar when we're actually going to just set up a Windows deployment services via the PowerShell, and then actually install the very next Windows, which was going to be the member server, the very next Windows Server 2019, via that PowerShell enabled Windows deployment services, and then maybe that answer actually your question. But in this webinar, we actually just wanted to show how we can apply the PowerShell in terms of setting those. Pay attention, Active Directory domain services is not a basic service. Basic services, file sharing, print services, okay? But how we can benefit from PowerShell in terms of running the more complex network services, such as the Active Directory domain services, the DNS, the DHCP, the web server, okay? And then actually establish the interaction in terms of between these services. So this was actually the idea. I don't know how much satisfied you are with so far that we've covered, and the one that is remaining to be covered. But again, I think that this is something that indeed is very much into trend nowadays. Okay, particularly when actually companies and the system administrators are actually trying to migrate from the work from the GUI environment work to the PowerShell one. But yes, the one that you've actually thought about in terms of the installing the OS the whole way by using only the PowerShell, that is something that indeed can be accepted as the suggestion. And then obviously here we are over here at the QuickStart platform, and then Erisham is with us. We're going to discuss this one shortly after the webinar, and then obviously if there is space and then the willingness, definitely we might go along and then satisfy your request as well. for what you're going to be, if it's going to run, you're going to actually be notified. Okay, so we have installed the Active Directory domain services, but we have not deployed yet. Okay, so let's move forward. Import over here, which one? The module, pardon, I'm having a little bit. Import module, okay, and then the ADDS deployment. Okay, let's enter over here. We're good here. Install now the ADDS forest. Okay, so now we're actually installing the domain over here, setting up the forest actually. Okay, domain name is going to be test.local. Okay, moving forward. Okay, we need to set up the password for the domain recovery. Okay, okay, and yes. Okay, another activity that is actually taking a little bit of time. Okay, it's going to take a little bit of time because now it's actually deploying this particular. I mean, in this particular setup, we're actually now setting up the forest, which we're actually trying to promote this server into a domain controller. Okay, so this is another. We obviously, because we depend from timing over here, time-consuming activity. Okay, but maybe I can benefit over here until this one completes. Can benefit in order to move forward and then play a little bit with the Windows 10 installation, which is actually over here. Okay, almost done. Let's see now. Okay, so this is going, okay, almost done. Waiting for the DNS installation to finish. Pay attention that the DNS is actually being installed in parallel with the Active Directory domain services, because the Active Directory domain services actually requires the DNS, or I did not want it to say depends from the DNS, okay? Because I wanted actually to save the entity of the Active Directory domain services and its importance, particularly the one that pertains actually with the domain environment or Windows Server network-based domain environment. But yes, DNS actually goes head-to-head with the ADDS whenever actually you're in the process of setting up the domain controller. Okay, few more things. And this machine is going to restart actually, because obviously remember the yes that the one that we've said there. The target server will be configured as a domain controller and restarted when this operation is complete. We actually provided the Y letter there, so we will confirm that. Okay, go ahead and then set a configure as a domain controller and then restart when this operation completes. Okay, so once the DNS is actually being installed, this one is going to restart, and then we're going to then go along and see whether we've installed successfully the ADDS and the DNS as well. And then from that point, we're actually will be very fast in terms of the setup, and then I don't think we actually need to restart this machine anymore. Okay, let me see maybe the Windows 10. Okay, not yet. Just a moment. Come on, Microsoft. Do something on a new build. Okay. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so I've seen they're completing the ADADS. Okay, I think it's going to restart now. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Let's do the setup. Okay, let's accept the default ones. Okay, yes. Come on. Skip. It comes the networking part now, as you know. Okay, I don't have an internet. Remember, we are in the internal network. Okay, continue with the limited setup. Okay, over here, test user. Okay, next, setting up the password. Okay, confirming the password. Okay, security questions. Okay, let's say A. Okay, next, let's pick up B. Next, and let's pick up C next. Okay. Okay, so over here, let's say no. Okay, decline. Okay, accept. Okay, let's log in here. Okay, let us see the server. Not yet. Oh man, what's going on? Come on, server core. Why you're taking so much time compared to the graphical, the desktop experience? Strange. Strange. Okay, we'll be patient. Okay, I remember a long time ago when I say long time ago, maybe it's like more than 10 years ago. Okay, in the Cisco Network Academy at that time, it was available the IT Essential 2 module, which was all about network operating system. And then I think it was in the chapter 6 or 7 when we went through the network operating systems such as the Windows Server, and then the Linuxes as well. At that time, at the Linuxes, we actually dealt with the Red Hat, and then it was very interesting when we went on to install the Red Hat. At some point, we'll actually say just relax the installation. Actually, it was like a banner displayed in that process of the installation. Just go ahead and grab something to eat and drink, and then relax until this process completes. Okay, it is almost like that. Okay, I'm seeing that the remote desktop connection is actually disconnected. It tells me that the server is actually being restarted, which is good. Okay, and everything is almost done now with Windows 10. Once this one actually gets inside, so once we sign in here, we're going to use the Windows PowerShell and the Windows 10 to do the work, actually to change the name, remember? And verify then the IP address. Right away, it doesn't have an IP address. Actually, it has an IP address, but it doesn't have them from the DHCP because we have not yet installed and configured the DHCP. Remember? Okay, I think that the server is okay now, ready. Let us get connected. Let me see. Okay, yes, it is. Password. Okay. Remember, you see, now we are actually getting into the test. Okay, into the test domain controller. Okay, so this one is going to come shortly, and then we're going to verify the installation of the ADDS and DNS. Okay, let's see here, log in. Okay, come on, get inside. Okay, let me bring this one here. Okay, and then here, please wait. We're actually waiting now for the services to come up. Okay, we actually started to load now with the services. This particular server. Remember, we're actually so far we've added 2 of them. The very heavy one. Okay, the ADDS and the DNS, heavy also from the perspective of what they actually can accomplish in a client-server network architecture. Okay, let's see now here. Here we are. Okay, just actually taking out this one. Okay, so here, Windows PowerShell. Okay, let's see. Okay, accepting this one. Come on. Okay. Here's the new information from Microsoft in order to try this cross-platform PowerShell. Okay, here's the URL where we can actually find more information for this cross-platform PowerShell. Come on, PowerShell, come on. Let's see this one. Okay, not yet. Okay, here we are. Let us run this particular command. Okay, in order to actually find the current name of this particular computer. Okay. Strange, why is it not typing there? Okay, get the child item. Okay, env for environment. Okay, computer name. Okay, now it's being confused because it did not. Anyway, that's actually okay. So repeat that one. Delete this first part. Okay, and then here. Okay. Okay, pardon, because of the computer name. Computer name. Okay, so this is the generic one. We're going to change that one into rename computer and then new name, and then remember we said test client. Okay, and then restart. Obviously we need to restart because every time that we change a name, okay, in a Windows operating systems, regardless whether it's for the client or for the server, that one actually needs to be restarted. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, we're good. Restarting this one. coming back over here. Okay, now here actually we need to run the get Windows feature command, okay, to ensure pardon PowerShell, okay, get Windows feature. Okay, we'll see now with the get Windows feature actually to ensure ourselves that we've installed the ADDS and the DNS, and then to move forward. Okay, come on. Okay, strange. It's taking a lot of time, which should not. Okay, we're going up. Okay, here it is. The Active Directory domain services is installed. Okay, and then the DNS is installed as well. Going down, straight away we're going to actually now install the DHCP. Okay, remember how we did it earlier? Okay, let me increase this one for better viewing. So install Windows feature DHCP, okay, include management tools. Enter. Okay, so we've started. Now we're actually going to fly in terms of the setting up the services. Remember I said that because of the timing, okay, we need to keep going fast, but this thing is actually a little bit stressing us. Why it's taking time? Can't understand. Okay, regardless, let me just log in here. Okay, and then pardon, when you rush, actually you're doing mistakes. That's why rushing is not good. Okay, come on. Okay, come on, DHCP, don't take a lot of time like ADDS. Test user as well. We can now go ahead, once we set up the DHCP, go ahead and then complete okay, so first of all, we needed to actually download the Windows Server. It was the first task in this presentation. So we went on downloading, we went on installing both operating systems. Went on then doing the initial configuration on the server, the post installation task on the client. Okay, then we went forward and then actually installed the ADDS, installed the DNS, completed that task as well. So completed the task of changing the name in the client as well. Went on and then we are in the process of installing the DHCP. Once the DHCP, okay, completed. Now we actually need to set up the scope. Okay, to move forward faster, I'm going to try copy paste the commands. Okay, let me see you here. Pay attention. Add DHCP server version 4 scope. The name is IP addresses. The start range is 172.16.0.50 and the range is 172.16.0.100 and subnet mask is actually 255.255.0.0. Pressing enter over here. Once this one completes, we will then move along and then actually just set up. Okay, that is done. So we move on and then set up actually over here the DNS and the default gateway. Pay attention, is the DNS server 172.16.0.10 and the default gateway is 172.16.0.1. Okay, so that is done. Let us get the DHCP server version 4 scope. Okay. Remember, we need to provide computer name, which is test DC. Okay. Let's see. Here it is. The scope ID is actually the network 172.16.00.255.255.00. IP address is active is the state of the DHCP, and it's actually this one. We can move them and see whether the one more thing, we need to actually now authorize this DHCP into the active directed domain services. So add DHCP server in DC. Okay, DNS name is test.local. Let's see. Okay, we did that. Okay, super. Let's minimize this one. And now see over here whether we have actually received an IP address. Okay, pardon. Okay, I wanted actually to bring the Windows PowerShell, but then confuse this machine. But this is slow. Don't know the reason why, but my machine is embarrassing me. Okay. Anyway, I'm actually tolerant. Reconnect. Okay. Okay, going here, Windows PowerShell. We need to ensure that we're actually now receiving the IP address from the DHCP server. If we manage to do that, then obviously we are actually good to move along. Okay, let's see, move along and then join this machine to a domain, to a test.local. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so IP config, let's check first. Should be the PIPA. Okay, now IP config release. Okay, let's see IP config renew. Okay, I'm waiting for the DHCP to actually respond. Okay, you see, it's actually has actually taken the very first IP address from the range that we've specified earlier. Add this machine into a domain. Add computer domain name test.local, and obviously it needs to be restarted. Let's see. It should ask us for the password now. Okay, administrator, and the password here. Hopefully everything is actually the way it should, and then this machine will restart. Let's wait for the restart to actually take place. Once the restart takes place, we will straightforward come over here. Okay, so we have actually installed the, okay, let us just make sure. Okay, pardon, get Windows feature just to see that the DHCP has actually been installed as well. Okay, it should be somewhere here. Here it is, the DHCP, this one here. Let me see whether the other machine has restarted. Yes, super. So far, so good. Okay, so let's come here, and now let us create a username which we're going to use because the other machine is actually joining to the domain and it's restarting. Let us set up over here a user which we're going to use actually to how can I say, to log into the domain. But prior to doing that, let us actually do something else. Okay. If you're interested to see how we do an exclusion of the IP addresses, which I wanted to show you actually, but time is running. But anyway, let us do that. Okay, here is how we actually set up a exclusion range. Okay, I'm going to paste it this one here. Okay, pardon. Clean screen here. Okay. Okay, and then here is the exclusion is actually the command is add -DHCP server version 4 exclusion range, computer name task DC, scope ID, the one that we've seen when we've called the DHCP actually scope. Start range 172.16.070, end range 172.16.080. Okay, so this is how we actually did the exclusion. If we want to call the exclusion range, it is like this: DHCP. So the get DHCP server version 4 exclusion range, and then computer name test DC. Okay, here it is. So it's scope ID, the same one as the IP scope, and then this is actually the IP addresses that we've excluded. Okay, we might go along and then see how we actually reserve an IP address, but for the sake of time, we will be just moving forward and then see what else we need to do. Okay, remember, we need to create that username. Okay, and then in order to create the username in the Active Directory, here is how we're going to actually do it. Okay, so the new add user, the name is Win10 user. Given name is Win10, the surname is user, and then actually the SAM account, okay, is Windows 10 user. The user principal name is actually Win10 user at test.local. And then this particular user has been actually created. If we want to see whether we've created that one, we can then call the get AD user, the Active Directory user. The name is actually the Win10 user. Okay, see, this is the information that is currently now residing on the Active Directory domain users and services, but the user is not being enabled yet. And remember, the user doesn't have a password yet, so we need to actually set a password. Okay, and right away we're going to set a password. Okay, here it is. Set AD account password identity Win10 user, reset a new password, convert to secure string as plain text Windows. Okay, W1 uppercase is this one, 2019, and enforce. Obviously, we see the user the password over here. Okay, let's just wait for this one to be created, and then once this one is actually created, let us enable. So enable the AD account. Okay, and then identity here is the Win10 user. Okay, we need to enable, so this one over here should be enabled instead of a false. Here it is. We will be actually calling this one true. Pardon, this is true now, it's not false anymore. Okay, now that we've created this particular user, let us see whether we can actually log on there with this user. Prior to doing that, let us make sure one more thing. Okay, let us add this user to a remote desktop user. Let's see how we actually add the user to a remote desktop users. So we're using the net local group command. Okay, remote desktop users. Okay, and then we're actually now adding the Win10, okay, the Win10 user, okay, and space add. Let's see. This is actually the command prompt command. Let me see whether it's going to work over here. Okay, you see it's not working. Okay. So CMD, pardon, exit from here. Okay, and then if it's okay, no, pardon, net local group, okay, remote desktop users, okay, Win10 user, add. Okay, let's see, the command completed successfully. I think that we're actually good now to try there the Windows 10 Okay, other user. Okay, Win 10 user, and then the password, the one that we've seen, if I'm not wrong, Windows 10. Okay, Win 10 user, Windows 2019. So, okay, this is actually related to this one here, enhanced session. Okay, Win 10 user, and then Windows 2019. Okay, so far so good. We're good over here. Coming back over here, we have actually now, we need now to actually move along and then install the web server. Okay, here we are. We need to call the PowerShell module. Okay, come on, PowerShell. Okay, and then straightforward install the Windows feature web server and include the management tools as well. Okay, and we're almost done. Okay, here it is, install dash Windows feature web server, web dash server, and then space include management tools. Okay, enter. Okay, it started. So this is actually the web server. Once this one installs, we're going to try to access the default website from the local machine. Let's see whether we've made successful. Okay, here it is. So far so good. We're actually almost there. Yes, correct. So we are with the Win 10 user. Okay, so you see it's actually different interface. You remember this one was not, it was actually, but I did actually customize this one. Okay, waiting a few more things until the other things are actually showing up. Okay, come on. I need to do some customizations over here. Okay, so search this one, and then the settings. Come on. Let's check something here until the web server is being installed. Okay, all settings, increasing this one. Come on. We're almost done. Come on. I think 10 to 15 minutes maybe is because of this slow response. Okay, accounts. Going to the accounts. It should show up the Win 10 user. Here is test is the domain and win10.user. We're good here. Okay. Over here, I will do this one actually in order to be in sync with the domain. Okay, that's good. Let us try accessing the default website to see whether the web server is responding. Okay. Let's stop this one to not go actually on internet because we don't have internet over here. Okay. Come on, don't take that much time. Okay. Come on, Edge. Just for information, maybe you're actually using the latest development stage of the Microsoft Edge, which is actually it's in the process to use the Chromium now platform. Okay. Okay, let's type HTTP. Delete this one. Okay, and then this one here again, delete that one. It's 7.2.16.0.10. Let's see what is coming up. It should be the default website. It should be, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Let us try once again. HTTP 172.16.0.10. Okay, you see, the web server is actually functioning. Okay, so we managed now to complete all of the work, but what is actually being left is just to customize this one into something that we actually wanted to complete. Okay, let us then try and then complete that one, although we have a little bit of work over here to do with the disk part. Okay, remember that we have actually two partitions here. Okay, let us exit this one here. Okay, clean screen. Okay, disk part. Let me make sure that okay. Yes, this part is running. Okay, and then list disk. Okay, select disk 0. Okay, list partition. We should have like 3 partitions over here. We need to select partition 3. Okay, partition 3 is selected. Format this partition fs equal to ntfs. Okay, hopefully it's not going to take that much time. And then assign a letter. Okay, assign. Okay, that's good. Now we're exiting this one. Okay, let's see now what we have here. If it's D, no. If it's F, yes, it's F. In the F, make directory named intranet. Okay, super. Now we're actually need to make a share now. Okay. Let us create a share. Okay. Not here, but we will create a share in C. Pardon. Okay. In C over here. Okay. So net share and then share equal to in the C. Okay. Backslash share and then single quote, pardon, this one here. Okay, and share and then single quote as well, grant everyone change. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, something says wrong. Pardon. Okay, pardon. This one here, share name. And again, cannot be. Change. Let me see. Why is this one? Share name equals C. Share. Okay. And then grant everyone change. Let me copy this. Oh man. Let me see. Share. Let me first create this intranet. Okay, this is like our shell. Okay, this one. So I've created this website. Okay, and now I will go along and then stop this default website. Okay, start the new one. Okay. Okay, let us add the DNS record into the DNS. We're actually adding a pardon. Okay, adding that DNS record into the DNS. Okay, this is done. Now let us go there. The default site is not going to show up now. Okay, let us try with the name intranet. What is coming up? It's going on the internet. No, we don't need internet. HTTP intranet. Actually, it's not reaching something because you see. So it's actually now we have created that new server, a part of the new web server, and then but we have not added there actually the one that we wanted to add the site, and then it was mainly because that share is creating problem. Anyway, we're going to do something else. Okay, so copy here and then action here, pardon, enhanced feature. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so here, Windows 2019, pardon, it's actually going with this one. Test user password. Okay. Let me see why it's creating me that issue with the net share. Share the set all state off. Maybe I need to turn the password. Okay, not this one. This is actually test client. Okay, and then here is password. Okay. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, let me do something here. And this one, maybe I need to just try to stop the firewall. Okay, let me see. Okay, and then run this one again. Okay, this one is actually exiting. Okay, net share, and then share equals to share name. Actually, share name should be here. Let's see. Oh, okay. So we are in the C. Pardon. Okay, and the share. Okay, and then here, actually now displaying this one. Okay, so this is okay. My fault. Pardon. I did not create the share folder first in the root, and then once I created that one, and then everything is okay. Now I need to actually copy now, but pardon, prior to doing that one, we need to actually move here, and then over here we need to actually now locate that particular share. Okay, now over here, run. Okay, and then test DC. Why it's not typing now? Test. Okay, it's going to type many times. Test DC. Okay, let's see which shares is going to show it over here. Okay, administrator, and then the password. Okay, here is that share name. Here we're going to save it, that one, and that is actually the file that I've created. Okay, let me see. Paste index.html. Okay, coming now here, let us sign out from here. Sign out, and then remove enhanced version. Okay, let's actually log in now. Okay, this one should change now once we do a copy over here, and then that copy is actually the one that we're going to pardon. Okay, so we need to copy this. Okay, let's see. Okay, super. Let's try it now. A refresh. Okay, so this is an IIS web server. This site is hosted on the IIS web server. And this one concludes actually this particular presentation. Pardon for taking like 3 more minutes, but remember, all that was due to the slow response from the machines. Appreciate very much your time, your patience, your consideration. Feel free to address questions, comments. You have my email, it's bekim@dauti.com, and then you have my phone number, +38345 534 Once again, thank you very much. Peace and blessings from Kosovo to all of you. Erisham, the floor is yours.
Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Bekim. That was a very detailed and very highly technical session. I'll see you guys in the next training session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to Erisham. All the best. Bye-bye.